I recently called in to the Locked On Steelers podcast and asked a question on Chris Carter's YouTube show, where he answered that question asked in reference to the left guard battle position between Kevin Dotson and Kendrick Green. Uh, Chris Carter ended up giving a great insight and an analysis on what he thinks is going to happen and how that position may play out. Uh, I kind of want to go into depth a little bit more into that position in that battle. I find it very intriguing, and I don't think that battle position is one that's going to be surely locked up. Please hit that like and subscribe button. We do daily segments, have weekly lives. Tonight we'll have Devin Engel from the Here We Go show as a live guest on the live show tonight. You don't want to miss that, so please hit that like and subscribe button. If you want to get notified about those lives and these daily segments, you want to hit that notification button. That way you don't miss any of these. My name is Daniel. My name is Daniel J. This is State of the Steelers, and welcome to the Huddle. So I recently called into the Locked On Steelers podcast. I wanted to talk to or ask Chris Carter a question and get his expert analysis and opinion on the topic when it came to the left guard position. I think that there's a significant battle going in, and I think that it's going to not only, make sure that we have a solidified starter in that left guard position, but it's also going to make both players battling out even better, iron sharpening iron, so to speak. And so in Chris Carter's analysis, he stated that basically he had reported earlier on in the year that the Kendrick Green and Dotson were taking splits 50-50 when it came to time with the ones at the left guard position. And I found that to be extremely intriguing and interesting. Last year, Kevin Dotson started the year at the left guard position, ended up getting injured. I think he had like an ankle injury that sidelined him for majority of the back end of the season. And Kendrick Green was just kind of like a failed project at the center position. Now, going into last year, there was a conversation that Kevin Dotson, the coaching staff weren't really pleased with Kevin Dotson for one reason or another. A lot of speculation was it had to do with conditioning. However, afterwards and after he's posted up numerous pictures and Instagram videos of him working out, it was very obvious it wasn't a conditioning issue. It was more probably had to do with what's probably been known here recently, a recovery issue and or maybe a mental preparation issue. Kevin Dotson played his entire career on the right side. And so transitioning to left guard is something that he had never done before. He had the muscle memory, the reflexes, and everything else that he had been doing for his entire life at right guard had to be mirrored and basically done a 180 on the left. And so he had even admitted it earlier in the season in OTAs that it was a transition for him last year. Now, initially, like I mentioned before, there was some talk that the coaching staff wasn't happy with him. In fact, Ray Turner was brought in initially to push Kevin Dotson, and it wasn't initially due to the retirement of DeCastro. We ended up signing him later because of that retirement. However, the initial call-in was because of his preparation. Now, I went back to 2020, and one thing that Kevin Dotson has for me is he's definitely a people mover, and his skills are there, and he has the ability of being a great guard. But I did find that it seemed like maybe he did have an ability adjusting issue. If you guys recall his rookie year, the entire season, or any time that he was playing, he played in a three-point stance, whether we were running or passing the ball. It was something that he was used to and accustomed to, and something he wasn't able to adjust within the season. He had to, go through the off season and get that preparation done elsewhere. It wasn't something he was able to adjust. And I found that to be kind of interesting and kind of odd, and so I think that Kendrick Green is a smaller guard. He's Chris mentioned in his podcast that he's listed at 6'4", but he's more around the 6'1" range. And understandably, I mean, you look at his tape, he got moved around a lot. But one thing that got him drafted, or even Chris had brought this up, was the intangibles, his ability also to like run, his speed, his uh, agility, the whole 9 yards. Explosiveness. He had the intangibles for being a potential great, center. The Steelers were going to be replacing Marquise Pouncey, who was an agile center, who was a center who was moved and pulled and did a lot of great things for us and was very athletic. And I think they were trying to find a center that was very similar to the Marquise Pouncey in Kendrick Green. But one thing that the Pittsburgh Steelers also like is agility or agile left guards, or guards in particular. We can think of, DeCastro was mobile. He did a lot of pulling. Alan Faneca did a lot of pulling. So, one thing that Kendrick Green was very good at was getting out in space and finding defenders to block and his ability to move. So I think that those two things right there, that's what's going to make this going to be an interesting battle. It's going to be is Kevin Dotson, because Kevin Dotson has the size, he has the strength and the ability. Kevin Dotson needs to put it all together. And if he's able to put it all together and adjust and be that left guard that we need him to be, I think that he has the talent above Kendrick Green. But the intangibles are also there in Green. He can run, he can move, he can get in space. And now that he doesn't have to worry about snapping the ball, he might be able to do things a little bit quicker and find himself not so much on the floor and also not find him so much on his back. He was getting, bulldozed several times last year. And so, I think that it's going to be it's going to be a battle throughout the training camp and preseason. There's only 3 preseason games. So, it's going to be interesting to see how they break down, who plays with the ones come the first preseason game and the third preseason game. I think that's going to be highly important. But I think whoever is a starting left guard in that third preseason game is going to be the starter for the first game of the year. And I think it's going to be very interesting. I don't count Kendrick Green out. I think that he was working out. He was working out with Pouncey. And I think a lot of people thought that his working out with Pouncey might be something to, increase his abilities at the center position, but not necessarily so. I think it was probably more to increase his speed with his hands, his punch, and his and I guess to get a little bit more control, so to speak. And so, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm looking forward to it in OTAs and in mini camp. That was, football in shorts. So outside of the mental preparation and being where you're supposed to be and calling out the right protections and blocking the right person, there's only so much you're going to be able to see there. Training camp's going to be interesting. I can't wait for it to start. I'm going to be out there. I'm flying into Pittsburgh on Wednesday before Friday Night Lights. I'll be out at the practice the Thursday before Friday Night Lights, and I'll be out at Friday Night Lights itself. And so I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see the players and see the rotation. Everybody's all hyped up about the quarterback position, and rightfully so. I mean, it's been one that has not been in question for the last 18 years, and now we're finally going into a void of unknown, so to speak. And, the last time that we had question marks in the quarterback position, it was several, like 20 some years between Bradshaw and Ben, from the retirement of Terry Bradshaw to the drafting of Big Ben in 2004. And so, we went through a long time with mediocre play. And, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers fans are going to be, it's going to be one of two things. We're either going to be extremely happy and excited with the when we have a Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers type of transition from Ben to Kenny Pickett, if that ends up being the case. But if not, well, we're going to be in a situation where it's like, you're going to miss what you had behind or what you used to have. I'm fairly positive in the late 80s and early 90s, majority of the Pittsburgh Steelers fans we're missing the glory days of Terry Bradshaw. I wasn't a Pittsburgh Steelers fan probably into the early 90s. I was born in the late 80s. I was born a Steelers fan, but realistically, from when I can remember, it was probably the 1993 season. And so definitely remember the 94 season and the heartbreak in 95. And so, I can honestly say that 1993 was when I started, getting into football. That was Bill Cowher era. Neil Donald was the quarterback at the time, and we were starting to get back into winning football. And, after that, we had a stint with, Cordell Stewart, Tommy Maddox, who else was out there? Between then. But Tommy Gunn was pretty good. I love Tommy Gunn, man. He was one of my favorites. I thought that injury that he had, that severe injury he had in Tennessee or against the Titans, I'm sorry, really, really changed the trajectory of his career. I don't think he was the same after that, but I'll digress. It was a long time between Terry Bradshaw and Ben Roethlisberger when we had a franchise quarterback. And, I'm hoping for that transition where we go from one franchise to the next with Kenny Pickett. I've been watching some highlights here recently of his work here in the last few days on some tweets of him putting in some work. And, there's been some noticeable size change. The guy's gotten a lot stronger, a lot bigger. He looks jacked. I think he might be the most he's definitely going to be the most under radar, underappreciated first ever quarterback draft pick. And I think this season, if he can get a chance to start, he might, quiet the naysayers, so to speak. But that's what I have for you guys today. I think that the left guard position, to go back into what the topic was, and I apologize for going off topic there, but going back into the left guard position, I think that battle is not going to be, we're not going to know who's going to be that left guard until the preseason starts and the helmets start flying and things of that nature, because at the end of the day, they've put in, they have a third round pick in Kendrick Green. It may be only a difference of one round, given that Kevin Dotson was a fourth rounder. However, it does make a difference. The pedigree's there. They just got him last year. They're not going to want to throw him away. They're going to give him every opportunity that he's going to, to succeed. And he has an advantage, being that he played left guard majority of his college career. And Kevin Dotson has played very limited amount on the right side, whether it was, as a rookie or in limited games last year before he got injured. And so, I'm sorry, at left guard, not at right guard. Kevin Dotson had limited, games at the left guard position. His rookie season, I believe he was filling in majority of the time. A lot was for DeCastro, who had an injury, and then he filled in for Matt Filer as well. There was a lot of folks that thought that maybe we should have put, Dotson in there for Filer, but talking to or listening to Kevin Dotson after the season and here recently, that he wasn't ready to be on the left side yet. We'll see if he's ready yet. If he can master that and he can be the left guard that he's shown to be on the right side during college and briefly when he was a rookie, then I think that battle's going to be his. I think that his abilities are a lot higher than Kendrick Green, but if he can't figure out the mental aspect, then Kendrick Green's comfort in the position and ability to move and pull is going to definitely give him an optimal chance to be that left guard. So it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see what the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to do. I'm excited to see what but Pat Meyer's new offensive blocking scheme is going to be. Last year we had Adrian Clem. He didn't finish the season for a reason. He ended up taking a collegiate position in Oregon and at the same position at that. So it was a lateral move to a college. That's not a step up. That's not even a step in that's not the same level. That's a step down for sure. With that being said, guys, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I'm Daniel J. This is State of the Steelers. Peace.